Welcome back to the TMRW Podcast. I'm Kevin Robinson. With me, as always, Donnie McGinnis. And we've got a very unique and special guest in Tia Stokes. Tia is a mother, a wife, a cancer survivor, an entrepreneur, general life specialist, I think we can call you at this point.
Oh my gosh.
No. Tia, so over the last few days, I've been doing a little bit of studying on your story, and I knew that we were going to have you in here. And wow, what a road that you have walked. Not just some of what you've been able to overcome in your own personal life, but some of the things that you're doing right now that are impacting the lives of so many others. So let's dive into it.
Yeah.
Tia, talk to us about yourself. You're married. You got 5 kids.
I do.
Where are you from? Tell us a little about it.
Yes. So I'm Tia Stokes. I'm a mother of 5. Major Legend Mays, Taz, and Rose. I'm married to the handsome, incredibly good-looking Andrew Stokes.
Hey.
Can I get a what? For the coach. And yeah, I'm a life lover. I love life, and I think a lot of the things that I've been through, I've just been able to help me to become who I am becoming. And I truly believe that. I dance. I opened up a dance studio when I was 21. Still have it today. We dance for a cause, and we basically donate everything to families in need. And that's like that was my first baby, because literally my first baby. So,
love that. Let me just ask real quick. So same studio. So the Vault is what it's called. And so 20 years going.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So I think most businesses roll over in the first 20 days. So 20 years deep. Incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you've been dancing your entire life, though.
In my entire
right?
life, yes.
So talk to us about a little bit earlier on and what sparked this interest in dance and kind of what set your journey apart.
Yeah, so I come from a big family, Hawaiian Samoan family. And if you know anything about that, they do a lot of things. Everybody dances, they sing, they play sports, they're gymnasts. And they my siblings literally teach themselves. Like, they're just naturally talented. I have a brother that can just pick up an instrument and just play.
And just go.
Anything, yeah.
Love that.
And so I'm the baby of the 7.
Okay.
And coming from a big family, we didn't have a lot of money. So my sister, she was a dancer, and she taught herself. She's amazing, and she was a dance teacher when I was 10. So my parents were like, you're going to go take dance because it's free.
I love
right?
that.
And you're babysitting.
And you're babysitting.
And I'm not paying you anything.
Yeah. Exactly. My sister was like, okay, now I'm going to babysit her, right? So, yeah, it was a 2 for 1. And I fell in love with it. I ended up loving it. And if you ask me what I want to do, I wanted to be a backup dancer. I wanted to dance backup my whole life.
Okay.
So I ate, slept, drank, everything dance in
Wow.
the studio. Yeah, since I was 10. And at 17, I actually had my first dancing opportunity with Beyonce Knowles at the Billboard Music Awards.
Oh, wow. Say what? Beyonce.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
You know who that is?
I've heard of it.
I know.
Yeah.
Every time I tell that story, I'm like, do you guys know who that is?
My goodness. How did that happen?
Yeah, I just went to an audition. So my sister was taking me to auditions like, you do as a dancer. And yeah, I went to an audition. There was 500 girls there.
I was just going to ask how many showed up.
500 girls.
And they picked all 500.
Yeah,
No.
all of them. All of them made it.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So 500, how many did they take?
So the first cut was like they call it a casting call, right? They just go, no, 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 yes, yes. Like they just look at you and cut you.
Yep.
And then they teach you, obviously, the second cut, third cut. And yeah, that was the third cut. And it was my first thing that I got to do, have my first opportunity. So
Holy cow.
And then after that, I was able to dance for NFL, NBA, halftime shows, and the Pro Bowl with Jennifer Love Hewitt, and just had all these opportunities at a young age. And then when I was 21, I was being managed by Britney Spears' dad at the time.
Holy cow.
Don't look at me like that, okay?
Hey.
People can change, all right?
I was look, so this isn't a small stint in dancing.
No.
You hook up with Beyonce, and then it's kind of gig after gig after gig.
Yes.
And to the point you got a manager and a high profile manager.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So talk to us about that. How long were you wrapped up with that?
Yeah, so I was with Jamie Spears for about it was only about 6 months, because by the time I made my next choice, it was like I just kind of cut it all off, So, and when I was with him, I was my brother was helping me, And it was, I think, when you get wrapped up in that, sometimes it's like, we're going to make you a star. We're going to do all these things.
Yeah.
We're going to make you a singer. I'm not a singer. We're going to,
Hey, we'll be the judge of that. We'll see here in a second. We're going to put you on here.
About 5 minutes, we're doing a beats drop.
Andy will tell you I'm not a singer, okay?
Okay.
But yeah, and then, when I went back to St. George, I was there to just literally pack up and go back to LA. And I just decided I wanted to do something different with my life. I wanted, honest to goodness, I just said, I'll do whatever God wants me to do.
Okay.
And that was kind of my mindset, was just, I want to have a family and I want to do whatever Heavenly Father wants me to do.
And had you met your husband at that point?
No.
So you were...
That's the crazy thing.
Okay.
Because I was engaged like twice before.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Couple that got away if they're listening.
Talk
Now that's
offline
right.
about
See
those
what you
ones.
missed out on here.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was engaged twice before. I was dating like all the flavors,
Yep.
And
All the
flavors, all the things. And and the crazy thing is like when I made that choice, right? I told him I didn't care what I did. I didn't care if I was going to take out the garbage for the rest of my life, if that's what he wanted me to do. And that same year, this is no joke, I met Andy Stokes, which Andy was in between teams at the time with the league. He was drafted in 2005.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay.
Irrelevant.
Hold on here. Pause
Who
it.
is this chick?
So
what is happening
yeah, I
right
was gonna
now?
say now I know Andy's a dude. I heard he was real good looking
Yeah,
and all the other,
yeah.
but he's in the NFL.
Yeah.
So he was drafted in the NFL.
He was drafted, yeah.
Wow. Who was
Mr.
it?
Irrelevant.
He was Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant,
Last in the
2005.
7th. Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I know.
What team did he get drafted to?
So he got drafted to the Patriots.
Get out of here.
Played for the Cardinals. Yeah.
Wow. And then he ended up with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Well, how long was his stint in the NFL?
He was only there for a couple years. Yeah.
Okay.
Couple years.
And this is I know this podcast is not about Andy.
I-
Well, that's why. Okay. Well, that's
I
what
told
we
you
don't-
need
we don't
Andy on
care
the
about
show.
I was gonna say. I'm sorry.
Andy, we do not care about
I
you.
was gonna say I'm sorry. What position did he play?
He played tight end.
Tight. He's a
Yeah.
big guy.
He's
and
a big
he can
guy,
move.
He
Yeah.
knows I'd truck stick him, though.
I heard
Donnie's like,
that.
I will knock
heard
him out.
I heard that. All right, so you met Andy,
Yes.
but let me ask you this: so
Yeah.
you're dancing, you're kind of full steam ahead. You have a manager, Britney Spears' dad. I mean, he's a pretty high profile guy.
Yeah.
But you decide that you want to change your pace. What happened there? What brought that on? Was it just heavy stress? Was it just a lot to take, or what?
No, not at all. Like,
why the
I was-
change?
Yeah, I was having a blast, but I think it was just, I was, I don't know. I think my whole life I just always wanted a family, and
Totally.
that's always
Yeah.
been the number one thing that's been so important to me.
Got it.
Is a family, and in that lifestyle, it was hard to meet the right people to
Of course.
do that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that was really my main motive, was just that I wanted to have a family, and it's kind of crazy because I just had this switch where it was like, I wanted to do whatever my Heavenly Father wanted me to do. And I can't explain it any other way except for that's all it was.
Yeah.
And then that same year I met Andy, and he happened to be in St. George. The crazy thing is we're both from St. George.
Okay.
Never met him before, never knew of him.
Well, no, he knew of you.
I don't think so.
You didn't know of him.
No.
I promise you that. He'd been keeping his eye on you.
Okay.
No.
There might be a little backstory.
Corral.
a little backstory here. Be a little backstory.
Actually, right, because after I made that choice, I went to work at the Golden Corral, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. What is she doing? So he did see me there.
There
He was
you
like,
go.
oh.
It's a drastic change.
But yeah.
It was a drastic
He's
change.
like, what in the world?
No, I'm following. I'm
But
right.
yeah,
I'm
so
with you.
Met Andy that same year.
'Kay.
We, which is crazy because we went on our first December 15th, got engaged December 31st, got married January 26th. He left for football 6 days later.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But how crazy is it that, I met him that same year. I made that whole choice, right? That whole switch. And I couldn't have met a better partner, like
Wow.
a better companion
Love.
that could understand my passion, right?
Love.
Like he gets passion. He gets like the hard work ethic. He gets the dedication. He gets he understands. Like if I
Well-
would have met I don't know. I just always think about that. I'm like, dang, Andy was put in my life for a reason. Like it couldn't have been better.
Well,
so.
you got obviously you guys knew it. You 15 days engaged, but 28 days later, here we go, and
Yeah.
that's bang bang. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, here in Utah, y'all marry quick.
Yeah.
But that's super quick.
Yeah.
Like by their standards, they'd be saying, okay, they love each other. Then. But look, here it is though. 20 some odd years later, it's like, well, then there you go.
Yeah.
Love at first sight type of situations do happen when you know. So
Exactly.
congratulations.
Yeah.
That is dope. You start then kind of backtracking, thinking, I want to start dancing again.
Well,
You're
and
passionate.
it was that, so 2007, that was the same year I started Calamity.
Okay.
So I had come back from teaching a college pro camp in Anaheim, taught like, the Laker girls, Clippers, all that. Like, that's what a pro camp is.
So what is Calamity again?
So I started teaching an adult hip hop class.
Okay.
And in St. George, because there was nowhere for adults to dance.
Yes.
Nowhere. So I was like, okay, I'll teach a class. So the same group of girls were coming from the college, and we were working on a routine. And so I thought, like, why not make this like a hip hop crew? Like, this would be fun.
Love.
Just came from a hip hop crew in California. And as I'm like trying to name this crew, right? And hip hop at the time in 2007 was like, especially in Utah, I was like, you do what? That's, just kind of like not accepted all the way.
Yeah.
And so the word calamity kept coming. It was like, Calamity. I'm like, why would I name this group Calamity? People are going to make fun of us. We're grown women, right? And so I did it, just shook it off, did it. And as we're preparing for our first concert, like a year later, we're working on this concert, this dance concert. One of my dancers gets diagnosed with cancer for the second time.
Oh, wow.
So we decide, we're like, okay, this is our first show. Let's donate everything to Tiffany Scholl. We'll donate all the proceeds. Well, we had about like our husbands in the audience. That's it.
Okay.
Our husbands and kids.
Small show.
Parents,
Yeah.
But we raised $1,300 that night.
Wow.
And then after that, people started asking us, like, hey, can you help my mom? My daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. Or, hey, we lost my dad suddenly. We need help with funeral expenses. And that's when it clicked that Calamity stood for Dancing for People Going Through Real Life Calamities.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean.
So when you started, it wasn't this, hey, we're going to,
No.
raise funds for these people in need. Y'all were just dancing. You guys were
Yeah.
just trying to make it in the dance world and do that thing. And one of your dancers comes down with cancer for the second time.
Yep.
And then now you have this
Shifted
cause.
the whole thing.
And
Yeah.
Calamity
So
Movement
cool.
is born.
Yeah.
So cool.
Wow.
And now, 16 years later, we've danced for over 70 families, like worldwide.
And I've been
now.
to one
Yeah,
at
Donnie,
Timpview.
yeah.
I remember going
Yeah.
to one. The
Yeah.
place was packed.
Wow.
And it's just fun. Like,
so
just
fun.
Energy, it's just a good
Just
time.
good positive
Yeah, good,
energy.
yes.
It's super cool. They asked me to come up on the stage.
Yeah.
You don't want me dancing.
They would
All
set
that money will
records.
go back into the
No,
pockets.
they'd set records, man. You get Donnie up there dancing,
I
you'll
know,
set records,
right?
man.
That's what I was trying to do, give him a solo. But
Get Donnie involved in some charity movements. I think that
Seriously,
would
we
be,
should.
that'd
Let's
be
do
real
it.
good for us.
No, awesome event that I went to for that.
It's so cool, and I kind of see how this is rounding in the shape because that's what the vault is.
Yeah.
That's what the vault is doing right now, and it's not just for cancer survivors. It's people who are struggling, right?
All
It's
over,
you'll take it all on.
yes.
Look, and this again, we would never glaze over this because this is the meat and potatoes of what we're doing here. Tia, we got to talk about you, right? So you do this thing for this girl who gets diagnosed with cancer, and then you deal with your own battle.
Yeah.
Walk us through the timeline as to how this happens and kind of what's unfolding in the midst.
Yeah. So, so it was 2020. I actually just had Rose August 2019.
Okay.
And
Rose ranks where on your?
She's the fifth.
She's your final kid.
She's the girl after all the boys.
All right.
The spoiled one, the best looking one.
Yeah.
That's right. The well
cutest
protected.
one.
The
The
well
queen.
the well
Yeah.
protected.
Queen. She
Yes.
makes all the rules.
Yeah.
She's the
Yes.
queen.
Okay.
And I just had Rose, but I had a cough. So it started with a cough. And, it's postpartum, right? So we just think like, it will work its way out,
Body's regulating.
All the things. And then after that, it was like I had flu-like symptoms. I had loss of appetite. It just started like stacking up. The symptoms just were coming. I mean, I had loss of weight without trying, loss of appetite. I was having night sweats, sore throat. I had shortness of breath. I couldn't breathe even doing just the simplest things around the house. And it was about 7 months, and then COVID hit, right? The world goes on lockdown. And it was actually Mindy Arnold, that she was following my story, just checking up on me. And Josh and Mindy are really good friends of ours. Josh was actually the defensive coordinator with my husband at Timpview High School.
Okay.
And she just told Josh, she's like, you need to check on Tia. Like, Tia's still sick. She's getting sicker. There's something wrong. And I remember Andy went to Josh and was like, yeah, my wife, like, we need to figure out what's going on with Tia. So Josh actually was the one that finally ran a CBC panel on me. And he came up, it was April 24th.
It was the day before. I remember this like nothing because Brinley's birthday is on the 25th.
Okay.
Like, I remember this like
it was
like yesterday.
Wow.
Like, yeah, sorry.
And this is this is in the COVID year, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting because I kind of want to, like, from your family's point
Yeah.
of view too, because I mean, we're really close friends with them. And Josh came over to our house. I remember that day. We left Josh's office from the parking lot, right? Because it was COVID, couldn't go inside. And we went to Smith's, and Andy ran in to get stuff for s'mores because we were going to make s'mores that night. Josh and Mindy actually just got us this, like, fire pit. We were going to make s'mores with our kids and stuff. And, we went home, and about an hour later, Josh comes over, and his eyes are just, like, bloodshot.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and I mean, because we're close friends, he came over, right? It wasn't like a doctor-patient thing.
Right.
And so he comes over, and we could just tell, it was going to be hard. So we're sitting on our green couch. Josh is across from us, and he basically tells us that I had acute myeloid leukemia, blood cancer. And he told Andy, he said, she has an hour to get to the hospital. Her blood smears look so bad that the oncologist asked if she's in a coma. And
wow.
Thank goodness. I mean, I wasn't.
Wow.
I was still walking and doing things. But funny, Josh was like, I asked him, I'm like, so how long should I pack a bag for? And Josh was like, oh, just a couple days. Like, you'll just be a couple days, Ended up being 31 days.
Oh, my goodness.
But we had no idea. I mean, everything was just a blur. Josh ended up coming back to the house and told Andy that to prepare for the worst. Like, kind of prepping my husband for what was to come.
So you had been sick for 6 months, something in that ballpark, and you're just kind of fighting it off, just thinking like, look, let me deal and shake it. But when Josh delivers this news to you, he's saying, look, this is not like, hey, you should get checked in the next couple of weeks, get with your doctor. He says you need to be there within the hour.
Yes.
So what are you feeling right there? I know what I'm feeling here in the story.
Yeah.
So what are you feeling in that moment when you're hit with this news?
One was relief, kind of. I know that sounds weird, but I had been sick for so long. And
now you knew what it was.
Yeah, nobody knew what it was. I was getting, and not from Josh, but other doctors were, trying to prescribe me and help me. So it was kind of a relief that, like, okay, we know what it is. Now it's time to go in and, like, fight this, right?
Yeah.
But two, also, it was very shocking because because it's so, the first thing, when you look up leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia, it says deadly, like, when you look it up. And so for me and Andy, and it was just, like, shocking. And especially for Andy, because on his end, he was like, okay, my wife has been dancing for people with cancer the last 14 years.
Wow.
How in the H does this happen to
Yeah.
her? Like,
yeah.
he was
Really.
pissed.
Yeah.
Like, no freaking way does this happen to my wife.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wow.
There was just so many emotions that were happening. And, I took one last family picture with my kids. And in this family picture, you can see it on my profile. Like, it's one of the first pictures you see.
On the steps, I remember
on
that.
the steps, yeah, that Andy and Josh were building.
Yep.
My kids are just, like, smiling. They have no idea. Like, no idea. They just think mom's taking another family picture.
Yeah.
And me and Andy are just like you can see the pain, the unsure, like, what's going to happen.
What's going on behind the eyes there?
Yeah.
Your life is changing in that moment, like, very much so changing in that
And
moment.
like you said, it wasn't like, okay, we're going to have treatment in a couple weeks, or,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we want you to see your doctor. It was like, Josh was like, no, you got to get to the hospital right now.
Wow. So totally talk about flip your life entirely upside down. You're a healthy person. You're a dancer. You run, groups of people who dance.
Yeah.
You guys are, so you're recognizing, like, okay. And I guess for me, what's interesting in how this story is shaping up is that you had been proactively dancing for individuals to help them through this exact thing. So in that moment, Tia, I think Andy kind of hit on it, is kind of like, how, why? But in that moment, you have to be thinking there's going to be a lot of people dancing for you.
You know what? I didn't even think that.
What did you think?
I
Where
didn't,
where was your emotion? Did you feel like you were alone? Did you grasp what you were going to have to deal with? Walk us through it.
Yeah, so we're driving to the hospital, right? Me and Andy are driving to the hospital, and I look at Andy, and I'm just bawling, like, right? And I'm texting my family, like trying to shoot out messages, to my family, and don't even know how to spell acute myeloid leukemia, because whoever hears of that, right? And I look at Andy, and I just say, this is it? Like, this is how I'm going to die? Like, I just said goodbye to my 5 kids. I've been building this, calamity, the vaults, dancing, performing, all the things, and this is my end. And my husband looks at me, doesn't wipe my tears, doesn't, and when you know Andy, you guys got to get him here because you'll love him, but he looks at me with his coach's voice, doesn't wipe my tears, doesn't tell me he loves me, doesn't tell me it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And he says, Tia, you're a bad A mother trucker. You better pick yourself up, go in there and fight, and get back home.
Wow.
Because I'm not raising these 5 kids by myself. He's I'm going to take them up to the mountains and we're never coming back.
Yeah, that's right. You go, they go. Yeah, no,
But it was fear. I mean, my first thing was I was scared. But that, his words and that just firmness and not being soft, not being the one, okay, I'm sorry, I know, babe, it's so hard. It was no, there's no other option, which what I'm wearing, there's no other option but to fight. And it changed the direction of my battle. He dropped me off on the steps. We said goodbye at the front of the hospital.
Because it's COVID. Insane. So he had to literally drop you off and you go in there
And
and
let
you do this
alone,
battle.
like Tia said, 5 kids. Andy's coaching. He's a head coach for a high school football team. He's there every day. And then he would drive up to Salt Lake.
Wow.
Make signs, wave, call.
Wave from the window.
Dude, talk about unbelievable.
Real
Unbelievable.
commitment.
Yeah.
Real commitment there. Sounds like a class act. Here's what I want to know, because you're famous for this, at least in my eyes and the eyes of a lot of people. Your journey through your triumph over cancer is very unique. You took your dancing and you put it to good use. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so, as I'm in the hospital, sorry.
No, you're fine. That's why we're here. You're safe.
I was by myself, and I remember, and when I got admitted, it was just like a whirlwind, port, treatment, everything just happened so fast. I'm so sick, right? The room's dark. My doctor comes in, and he's like, Tia, you've got to get up. You've got to get out of this bed. You got to do something. And so I'm a dancer. I've been dancing since I was 10. TikTok just started. And I had already been kind of dabbling in TikTok before I got admitted. And so I thought, okay, I'll dance every day. I'll get up and I'll have enough energy to learn a routine and do it,
Okay.
Record it one time. Literally record it one time and that's it.
And so right now, people who are dealing with cancer have to be thinking she did what? Because they're
She's
so
crazy.
tired, right? It's so
This
hard
lady is nuts.
to deal with going through this treatment. They're saying, okay, so she's going to get up with that. Sorry, so continue.
Yeah, no, and it is nuts. It's crazy. But yeah, so instead of walking, most people will get up and just try to walk, or ride a bicycle. I danced. And, it was one of those moments too where I thought in the hospital, I'm like, you know what? I can either have happy cancer or I can have miserable cancer.
Yeah.
But either way,
Wow.
homegirl Tia is going to have cancer.
Oh, goodness.
There's no saying not today, I'm not ready for it. That's just how opportunities come, right? They just happen. And so I danced every day. I got up and I danced. And because I was still alive, I felt like it was important to be able to spread some kind of message in my dancing. So I didn't feel right to me just to post a dancing video. I wanted to let people know that there were still things to be grateful for. There was still goodness in life, even though, I'm going through aggressive, they call it the red devil chemotherapy for a reason. Because it takes you to the brink of death.
My goodness.
And I had sores all up and down my body, sores in my mouth. I was on IV nutrition for a long time. I was hooked up to, blood transfusions 4 times a day.
God.
But it was just one of those moments in my life where I was like, no, this is my opportunity to be able to share that there is still goodness in life, especially in a time when, the whole world, right?
Shut down, yeah.
Is miserable.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's is mad, right? And here you see this bald brown girl in the hospital room, you know, hooked up to her IVs and everything, dancing. And it was one of those moments that just like, it changed like the direction of my fight.
So, and the group of people that followed
gosh.
your journey. I mean, you can find her on YouTube and
Well,
on TikTok now. Unbelievable.
Well, and that was the crazy, that's where it turned. Like, people started dancing for me.
Yep.
You know, I like you said earlier, did you expect that? Did you think that was, no. Like, that didn't even register into my mind about
that
dancing.
Was gonna, wow.
No, But it was like, after that, like after I started sharing and seeing people from all over the world, like, didn't matter your religion, anything, whatever, like your race, nothing. Like, people were dancing and supporting.
So, Tia, you already know that you're an inspiration. I'm sitting here. I've heard a million different times the way that you feel is a choice.
Yeah.
You choose. You know, your reactions to everything in life, you know, to your point, you could have been a happy cancer patient. You could have been a miserable cancer patient. Regardless, you have cancer. But never have they rung that true with me. Just understanding your battle. COVID year, here we are, healthy people, and we're, you know, complaining about COVID. But you're diagnosed with cancer in the COVID year, and you're dealing with this essentially alone again.
And you got COVID.
I did get COVID.
Multiple times
Yes.
with
Well,
this.
well, just being in the hospital alone, it's not as if like your family is just running in and out of that.
No.
I mean, like the COVID situation was insane. So to deal with all of that, you made a choice to be happy, and that resonates big time. I think that there are tons of people right now, and why I'm so interested in your movement. I don't talk about this a ton, but my stepmother is actually currently suffering from cancer. She's suffered with from cancer for 10 years now.
Wow.
And she has stage 4 cancer. So she's struggling for every breath. But knowing these kind of movements exist filled my heart with joy. People get put on an island, and it's not all too often understood, that battle.
Yeah.
The fact that there's somebody dancing for them.
Yeah.
Incredible. So tell us a little bit more. You're starting this journey.
Yeah.
You're dancing. People are starting to dance where you're filming TikToks. Talk us through this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, you know, it was funny because my platelets with leukemia, you lose like all your platelets, basically what clots your blood. You know?
Right.
And I'd be on and like Donnie said, my family would come, and I was on the 8th floor, so you're high up. So when they say come to the window, it's not like to the window. It's like I'm just flashing my blinds for my husband, for my husband and my kids to see where I'm actually at, right?
So she's
so
still
they
there.
can wave to the right spot.
Yeah. Oh,
but I remember
terrible.
like being on my windowsill, like just trying to get up on my window, and my nurses and doctors would come in like, "Oh no, you can't do that. You got to get down. Like you can't. You fall, your falls. You know, like,
your falls hurt worse than normal. Yeah.
like no, you got to get off the window. You know?
Yeah.
But that was it. That's all I knew. And then, I'm getting ready to go home. May 24th. May 24th, I'm getting ready to go home after that first initial treatment and all of that. And that whole month, I lose my everything physical. And this was another crazy thing is that my family, my brothers and sisters were like, Tia, you were like the healthiest one out of all of us. You were, athletic. I taught fitness classes, dance classes, performing. I ate the best out of everyone. And then you get cancer.
It's the thing about cancer. It's non-biased.
No.
It doesn't care.
It does not care.
Yeah, it doesn't care.
It doesn't care. And it was one of those moments where it was like, it's not if, it's when. It's like these opportunities, I call them opportunities, they're going to happen to all of us. And we get that choice to be able to we're going to go through it, right? Whether we like it or not. And I call them opportunities. I replace obstacle and trial and hardships with opportunities.
Love
because
that.
they're opportunities for us to grow. We don't get stronger, right? You go to the weight room, right? You go do CrossFit. It hurts. It sucks. It's not always fun. But the after is where you build your strength. It's who you're becoming. And so for me, I've been able to, I was able to take that word and make it the whole focus of my journey was that this was an opportunity for me to grow.
That is a beautiful thing. That is awesome. So you, how long was your battle with cancer? How long until you went into remission? Walk us through a little bit of the timeline.
So May 24th, I'm going home, finally going to see my family. And my husband, that morning I called my mom And every morning my mother would give me like a quote or some kind of positivity.
Yeah.
And she didn't answer that day. And so I cleaned up my room, all the things. And Andy walks in my room at 1:30, gives me the biggest hug, and tells me my mom passed away in her sleep. And
Oh, no.
my best friend. And another opportunity, because my mom, if you knew my mom, she's just like loud Samoan, like lady, right?
Sure.
She's just full of energy. And but it was her opportunity to be with me throughout the rest of my journey. After that, I lost my ability to walk. Because of the chemotherapy, I lost my ability to talk. Can you believe it? I couldn't talk. I'm
Wow.
talking your ear off right now. No. He's like, what happened? Because
Let's say a little sus there, T. A little sus there. No,
I couldn't
not
talk,
at all.
okay?
I know. I'm
But
with
all
you.
the things,
Yeah.
it was crazy. And so that's when chemotherapy wasn't working for me. It was killing me, basically, like it does, you know. But
Yeah, right.
my initial treatment was to have 6 aggressive rounds. So I was thinking like 6 months, I'll be done. I'm golden, right? And then after that I couldn't receive any more chemotherapy, like aggressive rounds, what I was up for. And then I got COVID after that. I was put in complete isolation. And then finally, I was strong enough to get a transplant. So I had a bone marrow transplant.
Wow.
So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but that whole year was, by myself and in the hospital, physically by myself, but through, social media, TikTok, Instagram, FaceTime, Zoom, I was able to be supported. So
Found some support waves
Yeah.
there. So you're out of the hospital, and you're in remission, and you're being mom again, and you're
Yeah.
being wife again, and life's kind of starting to normalize. Talk to us about the vault.
Yeah. So I had the vault. The vault was continuing to go on, which was another crazy thing because, when I'm going through the thick of this treatment, the vault, which my niece, Cambria, helped run it for me, they made me the cause. So that was really hard for me to accept because, I don't know. I think, I had been choosing all these families all these years, and then for them to turn around and say, no, you're going to be the cause. We want you to be the cause. Like, yeah.
Isn't that a thing? Isn't that a thing in life? I can tell just by your nature in general. We've known each other for a half an hour, but I can tell that you're a supporter. You give. You're there to impact individuals. All too often, when the tables are turned and you need the support, it's hard to accept sometimes. It's hard to allow that to happen. But once you do, the feelings, the overwhelming joy that happens. I mean, think about how good you feel when you give. When others are doing it for you, they've received the same. So
what an amazing, man, we could talk about this for hours, but being able to be a part of Tia's story a little bit and seeing it firsthand, man, talk about givers, Tia and Andy and their family, like unbelievable in a way of like that saying that we hear all the time, the more you give, the more you get. Like they gave so much, like, man, like they gave till it hurt. And I think being able to see that firsthand, what an amazing example of hard work, dedication, just all these little things of all the people that you guys have inspired, to be able to see you come out of this and being able to see these, these things happen to you and your family is so cool to see. So cool to see. And it's so deserving.
Thank you.
Donnie speaks the truth. I sit here in awe, Tia. I understand, and again, I can only empathize. I've only seen the struggle of cancer through outside eyes. Certainly never lived it, but damn, you lived it well, and it is super cool. Before we get going and before we wrap up, because we always seem to run on time, but I do want to know this. So the Vault's been around for 20 years. You've been dancing for these families and promoting, the phenomenal experiences for families all over the place. Post-cancer, how did your outlook on the Vault change? What maybe extra motivation or maybe other paths that because you mentioned it's not just cancer patients, it's people that are dealing with a plethora of different obstacles in their life. So maybe talk to us a little bit about the Vault's journey. Let's plug that for sure, because look, if there's one thing we want to plug, it's outlets to help and relief, and that's what you were providing. So talk to us about your journey there.
Yes. So, I, because I've had, this personal experience now and my own health journey, I really, truly feel like it happened for a reason, and it put me on the other end to be able to understand, you know, and to empathize and to be able to have more compassion for what my causes are going through and what they need, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like, I get people that ask me all the time, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do for my mom that just got, you know, diagnosed, or my sister that's going through this? And honestly, it's been an awesome opportunity for me to be able to be able to speak from experience, right? Like,
yes.
Now I'm not just running a dance studio that dance.
It's almost like you were prepared with doing, calamity, and then
Yes.
you lived it, and then now you have the opportunity of living both worlds.
Yes.
You've done both now.
Yes, yeah. And like now I go out and speak a lot. Now that's another part of my careers that it's all come. And the calamity in the vault is all part of it, because I mean, how can it not be?
Yeah,
right?
right, yeah.
I'm able to share that and in return help more families through doing that and dancing for more families. And honestly, it's made me just more passionate about helping and serving because of how much people serve me and how many people came out to support me. It's like I almost can't do enough, you know?
All too often and don't get me wrong, I love sports. Your husband
Yeah.
loves sports. We're all sports people. All too often, you know, we hold our idols, the Michael Jordans, the LeBron Jameses,
Yeah.
all these, you know.
Tia Stokes should be our idol.
Stop it. Oh my gosh.
Well, look, here's what I will say, though. Along those lines, the world goes round because of unsung heroes, people who are behind the scenes, who impact the lives of real people. Not turning on a TV and watching a basketball game. I love that as much as the next guy. But I'm talking very impactful situations on people when they're dealing with their health or dealing with health crises, mental crises even. Tia, we applaud you, and it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on our podcast. Whoever has not done that yet, who's local, who has you at their disposal, they need to remedy it quickly, because we've only touched on a very, very small portion of your story. We could go all day. You are the truth,
No,
and
thank you.
we thank you very much.
No, thank you guys. And thank you. I mean, Donnie's family was a huge part of, still is a huge part of our family and our journey. So forever grateful for them and for everybody that supported our family.
Make sure you look up Tia Stokes. Make sure you understand what she's about. Look up the vault. For those who are struggling in the world of cancer, mental health, or any of the like, look this woman up. She walks that path every day. We will see you next time.